Yes, sir. If you allow, should we start the session now?
Uh, Please start the session, but I will introduce myself. You don't have to introduce me.
Okay, sir. Uh, Participants, I welcome you to the eighth session of this 5 days online FDP sponsored by Hotel Academy. So today we have Professor Arvind Rautray sir with us. So without wasting much time, let me welcome Professor Rautray to this particular session of this 5 days online FDP. I thank you, sir, on behalf of Department of Production Engineering, VSSUT, and all the participants for accepting our invitation and putting forward your kind accord to be a part of this FDP. May I kindly request you to start the sessions?
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. So I just would like to make it a little interactive because our first launch session, as you know, people are a little drowsy. So I would like to know, can you please raise your hands who are actually listening to me right now? Yeah, thank you. So there are who are there. Okay. So I would like to. So there are five, six, seven, at least 7, 8 people are there. So they are listening to me. Thank you very much. So I would like. Akshay Kumar is left. Okay. So I would like to have an interactive session where you can ask questions as much as you can. I shall share our experience, some case studies which we are doing here on the real-time aspects of the machine learning. So I'll talk about it a little bit. What is this real-time machine learning? What do you mean by that? Then we'll go to some case studies. And the session will last about 1.5 hours, a little more. Trupti sir, how much time you have got?
Sir, as per schedule, it is 1.5 hour.
Okay. So I'll go on 20-minute sessions, then I'll have interaction with you. Then again 20 minutes like that, we'll have about 3 sessions. Okay. So let's get started. So I told that this is real-time machine learning. So everybody knows what is machine learning, and some of you might be interested in knowing real-time machine learning. So before that, I should tell you what is real-time. So real-time, just a minute. So you are able to see my screen, right? So real-time. So let me define what is real-time. So real-time is something where there is timing by an external agent. So this timing is coming in the form of some clock waveform. This may be a timing or clock. This is called a timing pulse. So it is called timing. So it comes 0 seconds, t second, 2t seconds, like that it will go on. So for example, it could be a clock of let's say 1 gigahertz. It could be a clock of say 5 gigahertz, things like that. Okay. So just so this clock drives all the systems which are connected. That means it can be a computer, maybe your CPU or sensors, everything. Everything is connecting. This timing pulse goes everywhere. This is the timing pulse or clock, you can say clock. So whenever everything is synchronized the clock and you have to meet the deadlines at the clock, so these are known as real-time systems. For example, when somebody is calling, you have to receive the call. So that is a real-time system, real-time memory. You have to talk to somebody in real time. But when you are sending a mail, it is not real time. Somebody will reach, it will go in packets, it will deliver. So there will be, there may not be real time system. So there are certain systems which are called hard real time. And there is something called soft real time. So what is hard real time? For example, you are driving a car. In every car, there is a anti-lock braking system, ABS. There is also airbags. So whenever there is an impact, the airbag should open, and it has to open very quickly. So that is a very hard real time. That means within few microseconds it has to open, milliseconds. Otherwise the person will die. So these are having very hard real time requirements. Sampling a signal, you have to sample every millisecond. So that means every millisecond the clock will be there. So that is a hard real time system. So what is a soft real time system? A soft real time system may be like railway reservation system, aircraft. So whenever you reserve, it can wait for seconds. It might get delayed also. So if you look at the time of response for hard real time systems, it is very fast and it has to be very accurate also. Time of response. For hard real time system, it doesn't change. The time of response is fixed. But the time of response for soft real system, it may vary little bit. So nowadays, people talk about these real-time embedded systems. They a lot talk about real-time. You have heard about this real-time embedded systems. Generally, people do with microcontroller, ARM-based computers, microcontrollers, Raspberry Pi. So these are some of the things where you have they are called real-time embedded systems, and they have a real-time operating system, RTOS. So they work in real time. That means you want to take a sensor signal, it will sample in real time, it will come inside the computer, it will be filtered, processed, and then transmitted. Maybe you can take a decision based on that. So these are some of the real time systems which you work, and there is a computer which is a microcontroller or embedded computer there. So there could be an embedded computer there. So these are like you have used this 8-bit controllers, AVR controllers, and you have used this Arduino platform. Okay, so this platform is supporting this 8-bit controller, and you have a real-time system where you take a sensor, then you measure the thing, then you take a decision. So these are called real-time systems. And the system which is operating your code is known as real-time operating system, RTOS. So just like your computer, now I am sitting on a Mac computer. Similarly, this computer has an operating system. I am interacting through an application called Google Meet, and the operating system understands it. I transfers my voice. It is recording through the mic, my image through the video camera here, and then it is relaying to this operating system is giving it to the Google Meet application. Then it relays to you through different layers of internet. So that is how you are receiving me. So this is an operating system. Though the bandwidth is good, it is to some extent real time, because I am talking in really and you are receiving it because the bandwidth is high. But it might also drop out. At any point of time, the network might be lost and I may be lost. It is possible, and you may not be able to hear me. So these are the real time systems, but there are a lot of risks here. So they are appearing like real time, but they're not real time. macOS. But if you go to Android operating system, which is there on my cell phone, for example, if you call somebody, the call has to be transferred. The call should not drop off, and the call goes in real time. So that's a real time operating system, RTOS. So these are generic real time operating systems. There are many specific real time systems in the industry which people use, and there are real time operating systems in the automotive. So your application program, you have an API application program, your application. There is an application program interface, which this RTOS does this whole thing, RTOS. Then there may be analysis, etc. Then it goes for decision making. So this is the main part of the whole hardware, RTOS and application program. Is that clear? So having said that, let me take up some case studies. Let us say case studies 1, which I'll take is, I want to detect when somebody is, nowadays, all applications are basically, negotiations are taking place through online modes. You are doing conversation. Either there is a video meet or there is just a conversation. Nobody shows the video, but there is a conversation. In this conversation, there are a lot of negotiations also, business negotiations. In these business negotiations, how would you know as a businessman that you are becoming aggressive or not? Because sometimes, at the heat of the moment, you try to say something very in a louder voice, stress on certain things, then your emotion becomes you become angry, things like that. So there has to be a software. If you know that if you do so, then there will be conflict. So in the conflict, actually, you will lose business. So can you develop a software, can you develop a software which will detect conflict in dyadic conversation? That means two people are talking, can we resolve the conflict? So that is the question. If that is the question, so how a real-time machine learning, how it will be done and how the real-time machine learning will solve it? That is the question. Okay, so let's look at the basic problem. This is called conflict resolution or detecting aggression and conflict. Similarly, detecting, I will take the case study to detecting irregular heartbeats. So this is one. Let's consider this first, the first one. Let's do that. So is it a real-time problem or not? Monty Lacra. Tanakanti Chakrapani, can you tell me whether it's a real-time problem? That means you have to do conflict resolution in real time or not? So many people raise the hand. Anybody can answer this. Okay, Devraj Pandey na kya? Anybody who can answer this?
Yes, sir. Sir, good
Real
afternoon.
time, so good afternoon.
Okay,
This
good
can be
afternoon.
real time. This can be real time, sir.
Yes. So this has to be a real time problem because I'm talking in real time. You are my negotiator. I'm negotiating with you. The application software should do it in real time. Otherwise, there is no point. So it has to listen to you and also take a decision. So this is a problem which has to be solved in real time. This should show in the flash of the light. Yeah, you are becoming more aggressive, or he can tell you are becoming more submissive. Whatever, you are becoming less passionate. Things like that. The emotions, etc. The behavior has to come in the stuff of the screen. So that's called a real-time problem. And let's see how the real-time machine learning will help you. So what we do is, so this problem is basically we do it by listening to the speaker and we do it by modeling the vocal tract. So let me tell you by modeling the vocal tract. So when you model a vocal tract, so we have to have a model of the aggression. So this is my model of the aggression which we'll do. I will do some research, okay. So this is my model of the aggression in the speech. You can see. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
So here we can see what are the things you can see. So input is, so the person and situation, then personal internal state gives an arousal. This arousal goes to as an communication to the society. Okay, again, there is a feedback. So this is the aggression model of a person. It can be for the model for the speech. You can say that how to detect the aggression is this. You have to model the vocal tract. Because vocal tract, after all, modulates your speech. So if you look at this, can you see this?
Yes, sir.
So if you look at this, so the speech production system is, there are certain impulses here and this vocal tract modulates it. And most of the speech is modulated in vocal tract. So vocal tract has, we have control over vocal tract. Sometimes unconsciously we don't control, and because of vocal tract we create a lot of aggressive speech. So therefore, by modeling the vocal tract while I'm speaking from the speech, we can do an inverse modeling. That means the speech actually is a combination of this. Speech comes because of this. The launch opening, that means there is a pressure wave which comes to the vocal tract. This is the vocal tract, VT, and the output is speech. So the vocal tract had a model, VT. So PT convolution with VT, it gives ST. So I know this, approximately I know the pulses from the pressure wave from the lunge. But the vocal tract keeps on changing continuously because of modulation here. So therefore, if I can model this vocal tract and the glottal pulse is fixed, then from the vocal tract parameters, you can know, this is a windpipe basically. The windpipe model can be modeled in the form of autoregressive models. Okay, so if you can model it somehow, then you can, different kinds of vocal tract will give you different kinds of behaviors. And this model has to be adaptive. This adaptive model following is nothing but real-time machine learning. Are you getting my point? If I am getting, suppose I am speaking now, my voice now may be different when I speak in the morning. My morning speech will be totally different than afternoon speech. So at that point, my vocal tract behaves differently. Therefore, I have to find out the vocal tract model by adaptively adjusting the model parameters such that it tracks perfectly the vocal tract. So this adaptation in real time is known as real-time machine learning. Okay. So did you get a point? You can ask questions now. Already 20 minutes passed, so let's ask some questions. 15 minutes passed. But we can start questions. You can think about it. So this model of vocal tracts, let's go forward a little bit. It's a windpipe basically, just like your flute. So there is a windpipe, but unfortunately the windpipe is not remaining constant. This windpipe is changing. This is becoming sometimes long, sometimes short, sometimes thick, sometimes thin. So the glottal pulse, glottis is opening here. This is glottis. This glottis opening and pushes the pumps the air. Then vocal tract modulates it, and you get a speech. So from the speech and glottal pulse also doesn't change much. Either opens or closes. From these two, you can have a vocal tract model estimated. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So let's see now. So let's go to my next. How this adaptation will take place, you look at this. So if you see, this is a model means what? Model means a signal. Okay. Vocal tract model means this is a linear system. So this will have an impulse response, HT or HN. This will be the input XN. This will be the output YN. Then this will be another leaf model, maybe some H1N, H2N. This is the output YN. That means this HN is basically, there is something called convolution operation. I will not go into details, just I am saying. Why H1N will have a lot of coefficients like H1, H0, H1, H2 like that. So this GN here can be something like H0 XN plus H1 XN minus 1 plus H2 XN minus 2. So it is a linear combination. This is called moving average model. That means it is a finite H0 into Xn, H1 into Xn minus 1 and H2 into Xn minus 1 and so on. So this H coefficients of the vocal tract is the model. That's all. Then there is a leap model. Leap radiation model can be just a differentiation. So just a differentiation. Then finally the speech which is coming. So this operation of Xn with Hn, the way I have told, is known as convolution. Anybody who has heard about convolution, can you raise your hands? Who has heard about convolution? Please raise your hand. Who has? Okay, reflection, refraction you have heard. So this is nothing but convolution is either reflection or refraction. So that means this vocal tract windpipe will get a pressure glottal impulse for here like this. Then it will go modulate itself and also get modified at the lip, and finally the speech comes out here. That much you know. So what you have to do is, from this approximate model and the speech samples and some assumption here, you have to construct the vocal tract model. That is the major problem. So this is known as, this adaptive filtering is known as glottal inverse filtering or inverse filtering. Is that clear? Okay, now it is 3:35, so let's go for some discussions. Please ask some questions. If you don't ask questions, I will think that you must have slept by switching on, and you must have slept.
No, sir. Actually, sir, good afternoon. Sir,
Yes.
actually, I failed to make out how this concept is linked to machine learning. Are you going to finally, are we going to link it with the data
This
science?
is only machine learning. See, finding the model parameters means you are training a model with the real data. Okay, so
Sure.
that is real-time machine learning. The
Okay.
machine learning which you do is offline. You train neural networks, things like that. But I will train a predefined model. So
Okay,
this is
sir.
called machine learning, adaptive machine learning. That is why I have written real-time machine learning.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
So that is what actually, that is a very good question. The machine learning
Yes,
which you know.
I just could not make out how
Yes.
to link.
Thank you for the
Yes.
question.
Thank
So the
you.
machine learning which you know is, you have some data, then you train the network, deep learning,
Exactly.
CNN or neural network. But that is not the thing.
Okay.
As the data comes, you update your model.
Exactly.
Like as the weather data comes, the time series model gets updated. This is called adaptive learning. So
Right.
this adaptive system is known as real time. I will come to that. So we'll do it by various ways. One of them is by Kalman filtering. One is by LMS learning. So there are lots of ways to do it. So I will come to that.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So the machine learning is, this is my presentation is on real time machine learning on small computers where there is limitation of memory and you have to do on the run. So real time, the model gets changed. The data is not available with you priorly. It is coming from the system, and you have to update that model. This vocal tract model, you have to update this vocal tract model based on the speech signal. So this is adaptation. Any other question? Okay, so let's go into this. So first you have to build the model. Okay, so this model is called some pressure-based model. So this is what the model. So first you have to do some model. So this model parameter, just like neural network has a structure, this is a special form of this kind of, you can say, structure. So this structure you have to make first. You can see this is the vocal tract structure, which is made mathematically into different areas, these tubes are joined together, you can see. So then there is a pressure transmission, you can see how the pressure is getting transmitted. So these are the coefficients. So that means each section has some coefficients. So this is the model structure. So after the model structure is known, then you have to find out the model. So this model can be written in the form of state space. So these are the real machine learning. What you are doing is black box, but here these are actually the real machine learning, which is called gray box model sometimes. So as you can see, I'm not getting into lots of mathematics. You can see this is called the state space model. You look at this portion. That means it has got the model parameters here and the signal together. So signal and parameters are put together. Input, output along with the parameters. So parameter has to be known. So by updating these model parameters, so this is done by, so this real-time machine learning sometimes is a estimation problem. You have to estimate the parameters. So anyhow, so this is what one of the, I will not go into details because this is how the model is estimated. You can see. This is the learning part. So learning part is you listen to the speech. So the speaker speech is coming to you. You use speech. So this speech is coming in the form of signal, XN. From this speech, you initialize the model. just like you do initialization. That means the vocal tract has got, let's say, the speech xn, the present value of the speech is related to past values of speech sum. I'll have to take this call. Sorry about it. Okay. So actually you have to construct a model first. So the model which I am constructing is called a linear network. You can see this is the network. The input is xn minus 1, xn minus 2, xn minus 3. Then there are inputs like this, glottal pulse. So this is alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. So this is my x of n cap, and x of n is here. Both are compared. This error, using this error, you have an algorithm. We call it real-time machine learning algorithm. So this updates these weights. That means this alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3 gets changed. So the nth place, let's say this vector is Vn or Pn or maybe alpha n, the vector. So this is the parameters of the vocal tract. Alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. Just 3 I have taken, but you can take many. So this set of parameters of the vocal tract, it has to be learned in real time as you speak. So this parameter will keep on changing and you adapt using some adaptive rule. So these parameters will get on changing slowly. I'm changing, I'm talking, my emotion is angry, so this will be different. Mine is happy, it will be different. So these parameters keeps on changing. So when the parameter keeps on changing, so that those set of parameters can define my state of emotion. Is that clear to you? You can ask questions, otherwise you cannot understand. This is a little bit difficult subject, real-time machine learning.
Sir, as you said, alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha n are the parameters of vocal.
Yes, vocal tract.
Vocal tract. So what is its use, sir? Why we call it as parameters?
Very good, I am telling you. And there is a glottal pulse also. It is also, there is some glottal pulse there.
Okay, sir.
So you can see, if this is a tube. Forget about this. Let me do it again. Suppose this is a tube. You are mechanical engineer, you can understand. This is a tube. When you are giving a pressure, you are giving pressure like this. One impulse of pressure, then another pressure, different magnitudes in time. Time is equal to 1 0 second, 1 second, 2 second. You change the pressure also. So these are pressure values P0, P1, P2, P3, like that. So here there is a flow, Fn. So the pressure you are giving here, the flow you are obtaining, it can be related. The present flow can be a combination of, I'm just doing the other thing. Plus so this sort of model. It is a linear combination of the present and past value of pressures, and it is also a linear combination of present and past value of the flow. So these sort of models are known as autoregressive moving average models. Can you guess this? Okay, so suppose still let me go a little further. Let me consider the spring mass damper system. Let's say I have this. I have a spring like this, and there is a mass here. So I am giving some force here, force input, okay, Ft, and I'm getting some displacement xt. So how they are related, can you tell me? It is some mass d square x by dt square plus some friction coefficient into dx by dt kf, and the spring constant into x is equal to f of t. Is it not? Is it not? Tell me. Hello. Asking, who is asking question? Maninder.
Sir, it's, we're not able to get it, sir.
I am just getting this mass spring damper system. This you can see in my screen.
Yes, sir.
This equation, can you understand?
Yes, sir. This second degree derivative.
Yes, it's a differential equation.
Yes, sir.
Suppose I am recording this displacement into computer by some sensor.
Right,
Also
sir.
this force into by a sensor. So in the computer it is discretized. When you discretize, xt becomes x of n because
Right.
xt you are sampling, and f of t becomes f of n. Right?
Right.
Okay, so in that case, what will happen? This difference equation will become this differential equation will become a difference equation. Is it not?
Right, sir.
This is the sampling time square plus k x of n minus xn minus 1 by h plus ks of xn, then this becomes fn. So this double derivative is replaced by the discrete derivative. So eventually, if you look at this equation, eventually this equation will become what? This equation becomes something like that. That means x of n, the present value of displacement is alpha 1 xn minus 1 plus alpha 2 xn minus 2 plus beta into f of n. Plus there will be some noise. There may be some noise. This noise will don't matter. So what is this? This model itself is known as, this is a autoregressive model. If this force is not there, just you leave the oscillation like that, then that means that just you draw the spring little ahead and just leave it. That means you are not actually giving any force, but just giving some initial displacement. You just bring it here and leave it. In that case, this force component will become 0. So this xn will become alpha 1 xn minus 1 plus alpha 2 xn minus 2.
Minus 2.
All the class agree or not?
Yes, sir.
You are agreeing? So now my point is, this spring mass damper system is oscillating. This is oscillating. I want to find out what is alpha 1. So I know this xn by sampling, by measurement. This is coming into my computer, xn. I want to find out what is alpha 1 or alpha 2. So alpha 1 will be related to mass, spring constant and the friction coefficient. Alpha 2 will also related to mass, spring constant and friction coefficient. If you look at this, if you expand this, discretize this, what will happen by discretization? This the differentiation, first differentiation will become xn minus 1 by sampling time, Ts or h. This one will become xn minus 2, xn minus 1 plus xn minus 2 by Ts square. So if you expand this sort of equation will come. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
So from this, suppose this alpha 1 and alpha 2 I want to determine, I don't know. From this I want to determine. How I will determine? Any idea? From the spring mass damper system, I want to find out this alpha 1 and alpha 2. How would I determine? So this is what is estimation. This is machine learning. That means learning the model parameters. So now let us discuss about how I want to determine the parameters. So from the given data, xn coming in real time, remember, real time, every 1 millisecond, let's say PS is 1 millisecond. So every 1 millisecond, this xn is coming to my computer. Okay. Every 1 millisecond, the xn is coming to my computer. So as n progresses, n is equal to 0, 1, 2, xn gets into my computer. So I want to determine in real time what is the value of alpha 1 and alpha 2. I don't know. So what I will do, I will make a structure like this. I will make a structure. Look at this structure. I will give you the present value xn minus 1 and xn minus 2. I will compute what is known as xn estimated. Then I will compare with the available xn. And I will subtract, I will get an error en. So this will be some initial alpha 1, alpha 2 I will assume. Then I will update by something called an LMS rule. I will update these weights. So I will do this in MATLAB and show you how it works like, right? I will just do it. So by update, that update means how I will update? That means the initial value of alpha 1, alpha 2, I will keep it in the form of a vector. Let's say this vector is a vector. So let me assume a 0, the initial value of alpha 1, that is alpha 1 0, alpha 2 0. Okay, so then I have this structure. So in this structure, as I said, xn cap is equal to alpha 1n into xn minus 1 plus alpha 2n into xn minus 2. So what is the error? The error is xn minus xn cap. This is my error. So I leave this error to update this rate. What do you mean update? So how will update? That means alpha 1, alpha 2 n plus 1 is equal to alpha 1, alpha 2 at the nth point plus some small quantity mu into the error en into these values xn minus 1, xn minus 2. So this rule if I do, constantly this alpha will be getting updated. When the alpha gets updated, you will find it will try to track the mass spring damper system model.
Excuse me,
clear? Yes.
Sir, what does this error factor means in practical sense? In practical sense, what does this
Practical sense,
error
this is the
signify?
estimated value which is coming from this, and this is the actual measurement which is coming in. So
Okay.
this is computed from model, this is
Right.
coming from the practical system. So
Okay,
when you
different.
so this is the error in the modeling. This is coming from your model. This
Right.
is coming from a system. So the difference is the error.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So
Sure.
difference in the error. Like you want to model a simple pendulum. Pendulum is oscillating. So somehow you are measuring the pendulum angle. So at the inside your computer, there is a model which is trying to track the pendulum model.
Right, sir.
Right. So then you can say what is the advantage? Yes, there is advantage. Suppose the mass spring damper system is model. Suppose there is a mass is broken somewhere. So what will happen to the error? Error will rise. When the error rises, you will see that there is some fault in that system. So you can do very well fault diagnosis. That means if you have already tracked the healthy system by use of this real-time machine learning, so healthy system is running and model of the healthy system is running. Suddenly there is a fault in the healthy system. Model is not having faulty, so model will see the error. So model error, from the model error, you can find out if there is any fault or not.
And this error factor should be minimum.
Yes, while tracking, it should be minimized. Error should be minimized for perfect tracking.
Sir.
So this is a very simple example of real-time machine learning.
Right, sir.
LMS delta rule. This is called LMS. So most of you might not have. This is called adaptive learning. This is the first course. Actually, this is a difficult part in real-time machine learning. But anyway. So let me show you the results of this aggression detection. So then I will, perhaps if I get a tutorial kind of thing, I can teach you. But now you should know the concept. But more learning, we can do some tutorial later on. Right. So let me show some more results, interesting results in that vocal tract model. So by doing this vocal tract model, you can see very well here. Just like the plot here, you can see this is the result. So what does it see? So you can see in the x-axis that is time in milliseconds. In the y-axis, vocal tract feature number, 40 such coefficients are there, and the coefficient values are written in the color code. Try to understand this figure. By adaptive machine learning, we have achieved this. So as you can see, somebody is speaking in two different ways. One is a very calm speech, one is a very aggressive speech. Okay, this B is an aggressive speech, this is a calm speech. Let's differentiate. So by how we have done it by real-time adaptation or machine learning. So there are pardon?
Sir, the upper one is the calm speech, and the lower one is the
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The upper one is the calm speech. We can find out why it is calm. We can do that. So you see there are 40 coefficients, and the color map shows the value of those coefficients. Okay, so you can see the values of the coefficients are changing. You can see in this case the coefficients are becoming larger, smaller, then negative, again 0, 0, maximum, 0, negative, 0. The red is maximum. That means these coefficients are increasing, as you can see. At one point of time, it is becoming maximum. But it is for the whole 6 or 7 milliseconds, whatever you have got. Okay. So in this case, if you take only a small window, like 10 milliseconds or so, okay, 10 or 15 milliseconds, then there is a speech. There is a 23 milliseconds. So this is the press. So you can see color represents the vocal tract pressure at different points. Not the coefficient, the pressure at different points. You can see when there is aggressive speech, this is doing quickly. Higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower. But for calm speech, it is doing very slowly. The same sentence spoken. So from which we can easily find out what is the aggression level. This is one just application. You can have a number of applications for such kind of real-time machine. Is that clear? Any questions? Please go ahead with questions. Let us make it interactive, otherwise you will not learn. I have passed only 45 minutes. Another 45 minutes are there. Another 30 minutes. 45 minutes maybe, yes. You should ask some questions, basic questions, just like you have asked now. So what I will show you real-time machine learning, I can show an example. Yeah, I will just do that example. Okay, then let me take the case study 2.
Sir, one basic question
Yes.
comes to my mind. Sir, in order to apply this kind of model in real life situation, first we have to record the argument which takes place between two individuals. Then we have to process the voice.
No, you cannot do that because you don't have time. By the time argument has taken place, you are
Then, sir, how does computer captures the data?
computer will record. See, as it records, it will compute.
Okay.
It will update. Initial discussion definitely will not be noisy. So initial few seconds you have got to update your model and keep on updating your model.
Okay.
We have made a study. From the study, it has found out that vocal tract pressure distribution becomes very uneven. So this unevenness, if it is sustaining for some time, then you can declare this to be some aggressive feature.
Okay, sir.
Because you don't have time. That's the point.
Okay.
This is the beauty of this thing. You don't have time to do that. You have to do as and run. You may have some prior knowledge, but not data. Because you are negotiating with a different person, so where from will get data? You cannot get it. All the time. So would you ask him to first record your data, then I will do the aggression model. Aggression model may not be known to the other also.
Right, sir.
So you are running at this point. So this is our product actually. This is our product which we are trying to propose for negotiations. So this is our IP. So Okay, so now the next is a very interesting. I'll just close this one. This is not. So next problem is, it's a problem of water, overhead water tank. So in the overhead water tank, when there is overflow, how you have to switch up, or there is some float switch also. So what kind of float switch you have got? You have to take the float switch off, you keep in the overhead tank, right? In the overhead tank. So this is water tank. We are talking about smart water meter. Or I'm talking about this. Okay. So this also we did. Suppose you have overhead water tank like this. So every house has this overhead tank, and there is a motor to feed it or not. There is a motor to feed. So this overhead tank is fed by a motor. So most of the time, what will happen? People will, smart people will have a float switch here. There is a float switch here. So this float switch, what it does? And there is wire. This wire comes down and switches on the motor. So sometimes this float switch, there are a lot of problems with the sensor, a lot of problems. Or there is a float which you just close the valve. But sometimes they get jammed. So there are a lot of issues with that. So what we did, our job is to just measure at the motor, near the motor, not here. So this is the motor. And near the motor is anyway feeding to this valve. So when the motor is off, so you'll have a valve here to close the motor pump here. So you can have a tap here. In the tap, you put a sensor, pressure sensor, with a edge computing device. Edge computing device means some computer. The sensor with a computer. What this sensor does? Sensor constantly monitors this water pressure. So if the sensor continuously monitors the water pressure, how the pressure will look like? It will keep on changing, is it not? For example, if you look at this water, I have monitored the water pressure, you can see this. This is the kind of picture you get. If you continuously monitor the water pressure in a typical home, if you look at the water pressure at the sensor. That means I have put the sensor near a tap, near the motor. I have put that sensor here, I have put the sensor near the tap, not on the overhead tank. I have put near the motor. This is the sensor, you can see. This is in the tap, near the motor. So this sensor signal, you can see what happens. When the water gets consumed, the sensor drifts, the pressure comes down. Can you see? The pressure falls down. Suddenly the motor is switched on. Because the high pressure has come down, so motor is up again, it starts like this. Similarly here, the motor is on. So these are the noisy data. This data is very, very noisy. Can you see that? This is a very simple system. अरे कोई इंटरैक्ट नहीं करने से क्या पड़ा है, मजा तो नहीं आएगा. अभी कोई इंटरैक्ट करने से
No,
अच्छा.
sir, we are trying to get it, sir. It seems a bit difficult, but we are still trying to get it.
No, what is difficult? See, you have a pressure sensor near the motor. Overhead tank is somewhere there.
Yes,
So
sir.
it is, as the time progresses, the pressure drops because you are using the water.
Right, sir.
When the pressure comes to a threshold, you switch on the motor.
Right, sir.
So again you start the motor uses. So what is the big deal here?
No, sir, we got this.
So what is where the machine learning will come? That you can ask. What is the-
We are still trying to.
Yes. So now look at this. I don't want to just measure the pressure. That
Right.
is, see, if the tank is 4 storage or 5 storage high and I am in the ground floor, the tank height change is very less. So the pressure change will be very less. Because pressure is proportional to the height. Are you getting my point? If it is in the same floor or little below, it is fine. But if your tank is somewhere here, but you are a multi-story building, you are measuring the pressure here. The pressure is basically the height of the water. So this height plus this height, and there will be some little change in this height. So therefore, this pressure difference will be very, very small. It will be noisy first of all. The pressure difference will become very, very small. So how to identify that small change in pressure? So that is known as, you have to again apply this adaptive learning mechanism to find out the small changes in the pressure. Otherwise, you are getting my point or not?
Yes, sir.
And you are only answering what happens to other guys. Sonal Tripathi, are you there? Some people raise the hand. I think people are left. They are having some difficulty in my teaching. So there will be small change in this pressure, not large change. This is happening because you have only one storage building. In that case, the trend, the pressure change which is very small, that has to be detected. So that detection cannot be possible by normal signal processing. You have to go for adaptive systems. Number one. Number two, suppose I want to find out the water leakage by the same sensor in your house, whether there is water leakage or not. So what will happen if there is leakage? This pressure will drip very, very small, slowly. It will not, this is usage. And when you use it, the pressure will drop like this. But when there is leakage, the pressure will drop very, very slowly, like this. And there will be noisy signal. When it drips like this, you should be able to find out the leakage. So for leakage finding also, you have to need an adaptive system. We cannot do without this. So what does this adaptive system will do? First, it will get rid of the noise. So the adaptive learning system the task one is noise removal. Task 2 is change detection. You can say adaptive change detection. This adaptive is same as machine learning. Learning is real time. Okay. So this adaptive change detection noise removal, you need adaptive learning algorithms. So one of the adaptive learning algorithms is known as Kalman filtering. This is adaptive. Lot of work has been done on this. So I'll show you by doing this Kalman filtering what is the result. I will just show you right now. So this noisy thing, how noise is removed by proper modeling. You can see.
Sir, what is written? This is Kalman
Filtering, Kalman filtering.
filtering.
Yes.
Sir.
Sorry about it. So this is Kalman filtering. Let me write very nicely. Kalman filtering. It is an adaptive learning algorithm. Okay. So these are some of the things which are very, very applied. So let me show you the result of this quick real-time learning. So that means you are trying to learn the actual pressure when the real-time pressure is coming. The pressure is not there. So that, let me show this. You can see here. So this is the actual pressure, you see. This is the actual pressure. This is the measured lot of noise, other things are there. So this has been this pressure has been tracked very nicely, adaptively tracked. This is adaptive tracking and adaptive learning. So whenever so this drip is coming, and here also it is tracked. You can see very nicely it is tracked in the change and mutation. Okay, so this is one problem of finding out the drift. The other problem of this particular sensor which I have shown is to find out the quality of water. That means there should be also quality measurement, quality of water. So how to find the quality of water? So there are lots of ways you can find. First, you can find out the turbidity by putting some sensors. But the sensor data will be noisy. So you have to again learn a system to know what is the actual value of the sensor data. So this is how you can make this particular whole thing, this particular small device with a computer to not only predict the overhead tank condition, you can also find out the quality of the water. You can also find out the leakage if there is any leakage, and you can also find out the water uses. So 4-5 things you can do. So you can package them as a product. So this is what you can see. This is the module you can see which you have done. This is not a big deal. You can also do that. So I use the available components. Yeah, you can see. This is the 32-bit computer here, 32-bit ESP processor. Here we do all our adaptations here. Here you can put any learning algorithm, anything here, which will learn from this. This sensor data is coming here, and it will also transmit to on the IoT platform. It will go to some other things. So this is another case study which I gave you. So let me just expand a little bit. When I expand a little bit, let me expand a little bit how it goes out. So if you look at this, real-time learning. So this one is these are a simple system. Let me give you a very complex system, which you have identified. So this complex system name is complex system is architectural I3. This is our invention again, I3 architecture. IQ. This IQ name is incremental information inclusion. Because you don't have prior information, the information is coming with time. You include those information and you do it at a time, small at a time. So incremental information inclusion architecture. So how it can be achieved? So let me give you that architecture, and I will end my talk after that. You can ask questions, as many questions as you can. Machine learning has gone to everybody is doing machine learning. So what I am saying is the real-time machine learning. So you can see this architecture. Look at this architecture very carefully, everybody. Okay, this is something very unique. This is my IP patent, you can say. This architecture is basically there is a vehicle which goes into the terrain with lots of sensors. Okay, with lots of sensors. The vehicle moves into the terrain with lots of sensors. I'm showing the picture of the vehicle so that you can. So these are the sensors, as you can see here. Can you see these sensors? It is visible to you. You can see. So this vehicle goes with P for prior knowledge, SB for visual camera, okay, stereo vision, and TC for thermal camera, RS for radar scan, this PLSC stands for portable lidar scan, LFC is called light field camera, HSC is called hyperspectral camera. So these cameras are interfaced with small computers here. 1, 2, 3. These are called edge computers. These edge computers, they take the data and take a decision. Then they send the data to aggregating computer. So aggregating computer aggregates the data, takes a decision, local decision, then feeds to the cloud. There are 3 levels of computation. One computation at the edge level, that means the small computer level, which is interface computer, you can say. Another computer is the local aggregating computer or the server, you can say. And one computer is the cloud. So 3 levels of computing. And as the vehicle has a whole vehicle will have a camera, a set of cameras. It will move in a terrain, and it will give an information. It's an autonomous vehicle. It will keep on giving information about the terrain as it navigates. Prior information is not available. So as it navigates, these things will come, and at the same time we have to do real-time machine learning. This machine learning, if you see the cloud, there are twin learning machines. One model will be here, one model will be here. This model gets updated and this model also gets updated. So this is called twins, digital twins. One model here, one model here. So digital twins happen there. So at the same time, the models get updated. So this is one of the i3 architectures we have. So there are lots of applications of this particular real-time machine learning. One of the major applications which you know is known as HILS, HILS, hardware in loop simulation, HILS. So what is HILS? Hardware in loop simulation. So this says that if you have a physical system, this is your physical system, and there is a computer. So same inputs are given to both these systems. Of course, here there is a sensor, small, magnitude will be small, and the output is fed here. So this computer will follow this physical system. This is not a physical system, but it is a computational system. So if as the physical system runs, from the input and output, this computer has to learn this. So when the computer is completely learned this is known as the digital twin of the physical system. And this is happening because of real-time machine learning. So I think I will stop here. Many people have many doubts. Let them ask questions. I will stop here. I don't know the background of the participants, but I thought whatever I felt. Definitely, this is out of box. This is not the same machine learning which you guys do. But
yes, sir. You are very much right. Whatever we have been learning from day one to this.
Yes, so
today.
that is all already old. You have to learn.
Yeah, of course.
But this is the new thing which is coming. You must have heard about digital twins, hardware in loop simulation. This must have heard, but these are the real things.
So what are the real life applications of this algorithm?
Digital twins, very well, if you have a model, as I said, fault diagnosis, prognosis is one. For example, you are monitoring a human subject. If you we are developing some boxes like this. In the boxes, there will be thermal camera, there will be radar. I will keep it near the computer. So what it will do, it will keep on monitoring your heart rate and respiration. So the computer data is coming, it goes to cloud. So it takes your normal respiration rate. Suddenly there is a change. So it will look at the change and tell you that if there is any problem or not in your body.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So there are a lot of prognosis, diagnosis, healthcare, it is required. And in hardware in loop simulation, you can create faults in the digital twin, which you cannot create in the physical system. Because physical system will be very expensive to create faults, but digital twin, you can do anything.
Yes, sir.
So you can take these words: HILS, hardware in loop simulation, digital twins, prognostics diagnosis, adaptive learning. So these are some of the real-time platforms. So you have to do more. As and when the data comes, you have to actually learn it. Otherwise, there is no scope of learning. You don't have
Yes,
data, prior data. You have to learn then and there. So that is called real-time machine learning.
right, sir. Sir, you talked about IQ architecture.
I3, IQ, yes.
I3 architecture. One is incremental information and
Inclusion.
in-
Including incremental information. That's all.
right.
Go on asking questions because I will go for another meeting. So no more questions today. Call it a day. Online and after lunch.
No, sir, that is not the issue. It is completely new topic for most of us. That is the
Yes, that's why you should ask questions.
still, sir, we could learn.
No, you don't have to. You have to ask questions. That's why I'm allowing for 20 minutes to ask questions. You can ask as many questions. Anything.
Sir, any suggestion for further reading on this topic? Any?
Okay, there is an adaptive learning systems. There is a book. You can read that book. Adaptive learning systems. Withdraw. And also start working. Instead of reading, you start working.
Yes, sir.
Because you are actually biased by certain aspects of machine learning, like deep learning, data, all these things.
Exactly.
But that is not going to help you because everybody is doing that. You have to do
All
the
real life application. These are all real life
They
applications.
are the real life applications. Okay.
Right, sir. Sir, what you said, adaptive learning system by?
Withdraw. I think you can see in the Google,
Okay.
Scholar Google, you go see adaptive learning systems. Adaptive learning systems. So there are many books there. Adaptive learning systems book. Adaptive learning book. You can write book. So there are many books. Insight. There are many books. Adaptive learning environments, foundation, frontiers, TubeMan. So there are many books. Simon Hikins is also a good book, the new edition. That also talks about adaptive learning. First few chapters. Read the basics. Simon Hankins, that adaptive neural network, that also first few chapters talks about adaptive learning. Simon Hankins is good. You can read that. So you start doing things, then it will be clear to you, more clear to you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so organizers, if you have nothing to say, then should I call it a day or should I take questions?
Participants, if you do not have any other query, let us end the session here.
Participants should be encouraged to ask questions. Otherwise, only one participant is participating. That is fine. But there should be more participants. At least I will adapt myself to your situation. Adaptive learning. This is I don't know you, you don't know me. Unless you give feedback, I cannot adapt myself. Blindly, how can I adapt? This OneNote file, yes, of course, I can. You send me an email, I will give you the OneNote file.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
May I ask one question which may not be related to this topic?
Any question, no problem.
Sir, the app you are using for this online teaching, it is which app?
First of all,
The writing board you are using.
this is a Wacom tab. You can see this.
Oh, sir,
The tab.
okay, sir.
So it has a pen, so you can just write on it.
Okay.
This you use for our online reading.
Okay. Thank you,
I,
sir.
so that is also this whole computer is a Mac computer, so I can speak anywhere in the room. Still, you can listen. You can.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
These are high-end systems for teaching and learning in online. Otherwise, there will be a lot of problem.
Now, we are also using a digital writing pad for our online classes, but it does not have this kind of features. That's the reason why I asked.
This is actually a professional tab.
Yes,
Not
sir.
very expensive. You can buy that Wacom next step.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, can we get this OneNote file?
You write a mail to me, I will give you immediately.
Can you have your email ID, sir?
अरे अरविंद राउतराय गूगल में टॉप टाइप करने से 1000 ईमेल आ जाएंगे.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sure, we will get it.
I can give this one. Just give me a second. I'll give you this file. I am sharing with Trupti sir. Okay. Trupti Ranjan sir.
Yes, sir. I will provide it to them.
Okay. No, I am typing here. You can just take it. I am typing here. But you can ask questions. Otherwise, how can you do research? You don't do this passive, because what I'm sharing is my experience. It is nothing like, this is just experience I'm sharing. There is no big deal here. Whatever you have done, we are sharing. So this is the. I'm not able to paste in the chat box. Why? Yeah, I am pasting here. This link, if you go, this is the OneNote book.
Yes, sir.
So if there are 67 people, you should interact. This is the chance to interact. Because I am not, suppose somebody comes in other time and interacts with me, I may not have time. This is the time for you. Still there is time. 15 minutes left. I am muting myself. If you ask questions, I will answer. Otherwise,
Okay, if you want to ask anything, please ask. Anything related
Excuse
to
me, sir. How much economical is this process?
No, economical means it depends on the application. You cannot answer I cannot answer this question like that. You have to say an application. It is not question of economy, it is the question of need. If measurement is not available, like I am teaching you, I don't know your background. So how would I learn quickly to adapt my teaching so that your teaching becomes effective? So that is what is the question here. So there has to be some. That's why I'm asking questions. Why do I otherwise think I'm asking questions? I could have just like a parrot. I would have recited my slides and I would have left. That is not the case. So this is where is the requirement to have adaptive learning. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
there is the cost. Cost has to be minimized, but first there has to be requirement.
anything else?
Sir, please, sir.
Chakrapani sir?
Is the adaptive learning is applicable for laboratory experiment for the students, sir?
Yes, surely. That is where you can start with. You can start
How
adaptive
the
learning that they are experimenting with something, some system. You want to measure the parameters online. So you give the sensor data feed and do the microcontroller. You can take these Arduino boards and do the learning algorithm there. Simple learning. Possible. It's very well possible.
not only in our electronics part, sir, but in chemistry or physics, other one the chemical reactions, other are there,
Yes,
sir.
yes, surely it
How
can
we
be
can?
done. It can be done. You have to actually contact me. We'll have to understand your problem. Then I can suggest. Once I know the problem, exactly I can suggest you. At this moment, yes, it is possible. That much I can answer.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Uh, anything to ask? Okay, so should we wind up the session here, sir? As there is no response from their end.
Yes. You can end up, but actually, if there would have been questions, it would have been better. Actually, initial part, there should have been some question like somebody pointed out what is the whether we are going to machine learning. That was a good question. I had good interaction though, but there should be effective interaction. Otherwise, I would not know what is needed. Because machine learning is such a vast field, right? Okay, thank you, Tiranjanji. Very nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Yes,
so much,
sir.
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you once again on behalf of our department, also all the participants. Let me thank you once again for accepting our invitation in a very, very short span of time. Hope we'll be having the opportunity to interact with you in future as well.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody can write mails. Bye bye. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, but you can sign out now. Let us meet tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for tomorrow's first session.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir.